Anti-Afro Svengalis, this is part two of a video that I posted. The video that I posted made it clear it's time to make sure you all know what's been happening with this Glorion Murray situation. It's essential because what Glorion Murray has done over the last year or so, nothing but lie. And we have sat back and we have observed her, and we were just simply shocked that she continued to do the things that she was doing. And why is that we were so shocked? Because the city of New York has been trying to fire her since February 2020. And we found that out in 2021 when we went to file complaints on her. I said to myself, you know what? I knew they were going to get rid of her. So I pulled my complaint away. I didn't file it. I have it written up. I just didn't send it in. I wanted to put my attention elsewhere. The only one was preparing her complaint because Glorion Murray played a central role. Hear me very carefully, a central role in getting the only ones, aka Me Three and Mine's medical records hacked. That is a fact. So there are two cases. One that was pending before this whole stuff on YouTube occurred. And that is between Glorion Murray and the city of New York. They have stated she is to be fired. So the only one is correct. I was correct because I stated she was facing job loss and she was suspended. But the amazing thing that we found about this Glorion Murray situation, while this was going on, she continued to engage in conduct that was frankly illegal and unethical, not even taking into consideration at all that she was pending termination. They were trying very hard to terminate her, but she came onto YouTube and started engaging in types of behaviors, frankly, that were criminal. That's there are criminal behavior is what she engaged in. And their disposition towards her, it was very clear that they were sick of her. They wanted her out of there to the point where they got a little sloppy with their documentation. This is a city, because I read the documents, but it was sustained by the administrative law judge that she was AWOL from her job for close to a year. And the backdrop against these absences comes right back to what I was telling you about Glorion Murray all along. She gets by on pity. She depends on you pitying her for whatever sob story she can come up with. Well, the city of New York was sick of her and they are trying to fire her. They have already issued their decision. So she's snaking her way through whatever she's snaking her way through, but the documentation is there. So what Glorion did for the last year or so, we just sat back and were just going, she's really serious about this. She's coming up with all these different scenarios about individuals. However, she's not addressing what's happening with her on the job. She kept pushing and pushing and pushing this linen honor thing. Meanwhile, she's up here trying to fight for a job and she thinks linen honor is the answer to everything, to the point where she kept bringing him up in relationship to me as if this was going to save her job. She didn't put any attention into saving her own job, a job she said that she's had for 20 years, right? So you have to know something, and you have to understand why the city of New York is fighting so hard to fire her. They don't want to pay her that pension. That's the situation. You damn well better believe she's fighting for that pension, because if she didn't care about it, she would just resign. She could just quit, right? And move on and get another job. No, she needs to stay there. She wants to get a ruling on the pension. She wants to be paid out for the rest of her life. I don't make those decisions, but if you have been suspended on your job 3 separate times, 3 times, one for 50 days, one for 30 days, and now with the only one, 90 days. That complaint went in after this ruling had come down because technically speaking, she's still on the rolls. She's not actually working at any site. She is on the rolls because of this situation. Do you think a person like this who has engaged in such atrocious behaviors needs to be working around vulnerable populations? Obviously, the city doesn't believe so, and they want her out of there. But here she is continuing to wreak havoc on YouTube, bringing up all of these topics that have nothing to do with her job, insisting, just continues to bring up, you're not in Lyin-Azz's chat and you're not friends anymore and he doesn't like you and all this. This is third grade behavior. Meanwhile, she was run out of there. I keep telling you all, I left. I don't put all of my stock in one single situation like she has done. She thought this live stream was her life. She lived for this live stream while she was neglecting her employment responsibilities. At one point in time, she had the nerve to demand to permanently have Fridays and Saturdays off. I was reading this stuff going, what in the hell is this? And the biggest irony of it all, of this whole thing, the person that she goes around trashing along with me, Gerald Palmer, aka Rev G, he is the one who pushed and prevailed on not having the document posted on this channel because of the nature of the information that was in there. This is the person who talks all kinds of shit and lies about Rev G. She doesn't know anything about him, but she goes on these panels, making these statements, making up these lies, running these scripts. Meanwhile, she's not telling anybody what the hell's going on with your job. Why do you keep lying and saying that you're not suspended? You are suspended. You are technically fired. The decisions have been rendered. And you come on here, the nerve to call us liars? We knew you were a liar from the very start. You are lying. You were fired from your job. You were initially suspended from your job. They were trying like hell to get you out of there and make it permanent, like a seal, the tape seal on it. That is a fact. Those documents are public access if you can figure out how to get them. I was a researcher for 13 years. It's very easy for me to research and get information. I don't exploit that skill, but I sure as hell was able to get a hold of this document. And trust you me, people, it is explosive. The behavior in this document mirrors her behavior that you see here on YouTube. And she has the nerve to go around here acting like her character is squeaky clean, that her personal life is unsullied. No, it absolutely isn't. The city of New York wants her gone. If there's already a termination recommendation, I don't think you can have two termination recommendations, but if she's technically still on the rolls, any complaint that goes in would need to be heard. And that is a situation with Me3 in Minds. She has the documentation. I put the documentation up where there's a 90-day recommended loss of pay for her for 90 days. But there's also the pending termination. So we were both correct. She comes on telling you all kinds of crap and doesn't bring a single solitary document. Have her bring on the document that counters what you were seeing online here. Bring it on. She won't bring it on because she doesn't have a counter document. She would have to file an appeal in order to avoid termination. But her engaging in this behavior in the interim is what's the most disturbing. Didn't care that her job is on the hook, is on the line. She did not care. She was only gunning for the people she wanted to get. Me3 in Minds and me using this Lyin-Azz thing. Well, is Lyin-Azz going to give you a job? Are you going to be able to move in with him or any other person's live stream that you're running around infecting with your evil spirit? None of these people are going to move you in. None of these people are going to give you a job. You have to face the music for all the things that you have done to people. To get up here and tell us that we are lying? No, we have documentation proving that we aren't lying. You are the liar, and she didn't know how to leave well enough alone. You should hear the clips that we have on her. We should see the screenshots. She just doesn't know when to quit, but didn't give any attention to her job. You see what the judge is saying. Okay, you got a good evaluation. She didn't learn her lesson. Why the hell would any company feel that they should be obligated to someone to pay them for the rest of their lives when they violated their rules? If that was so easy, then people would do this and just walk off and get retirement without having had earned it. She brought the agency, the city, into a state of disrepute by her conduct. And that is what we're facing now. She's trying to hold on to a job and to a pension. But why would she try to hold on to a job that she barely even came to? She had horrendous attendance problems and was never able to produce the medical documentation to justify her being off for nearly an entire year. Didn't report to work. She doesn't like to go to work. And then has the nerve to come on YouTube and pass judgment on us. This is a situation. If you are not clear, there are two cases with Glorion Murray. One, it was already pending for over a year before we came and started to file on her, or the only one ultimately did. I pulled my complaint. I didn't send it in. It was already in the works. So when Glorion Murray comes up again and tells you that we are lying, demand that she show documentation of her lies. I have the document. I have the 21-page document that goes through the whole scenario about how she was conniving and scheming, trying to find any way she can to be off work without having the proper medical documentation in the vast majority of the situations. So the period of time where they fired her for being off work, she was not able to produce any corresponding documentation justifying this extended I do what I want leave. She doesn't like responsibility, doesn't hold herself in any way responsible for her own actions. And this document, this 21-page document, very clearly spells out exactly who she is when she started working there, and it goes over the suspensions that she suffered previously. At this point, they're done with her. So for her to come onto YouTube and try to call us liars, demand she show the paperwork. This has got nothing to do with any live stream host. It has something to do with her and her lying and expecting people just to believe what the hell she says when she brings no proof. I am one of those that she targeted and wants to act like she doesn't know why there's an issue. Typical refusal to accept responsibility. Let me tell you this much. Me3 and Mine's case is going to be heard. It will be heard. It's just behind another case. They are still trying to get the termination finalized. That is a situation. It's public knowledge. People, be careful who you look up to and who you follow, because these people are often fraught with all different types of issues. They are not effective leaders. And we're seeing a situation just like this with Glorion Murray. Still thinks she has a right and entitlement to have privileges on a job where she disrespected everything about the job. Hardly ever went and wants to brag about being there for 20 years. People, if you ever encounter anyone like this, the best thing you can do is break and run as quickly as you can. In the meantime, you know the drill. Buyer beware.